Discover your path through enlightenment with adventure through forests, rivers, deserts, and more in Parikrama.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Parikrama, game designed by Siddhant Chand and published by Zenwood Games.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant here from Maple University.
Alright, let's get to the classroom.
In Parikrama, players are solo travellers, going on journeys through landscapes, in search of experiences and points. Through a process of taking cards from a common supply, players will try to accumulate sets and runs of cards, giving them access to collect tiles, hitchhiking cards, and to build up their journals for points and discounts. The game ends once one player completes a network of 9 tiles, and whoever has scored the most points will be the winner. To set up, shuffle the deck of journey cards. These range from number 1 to 7 in 4 different colours with some wilds. Choose a first player who draws a starting hand of 5 cards. Second player draws 6, third 7, and so on. Then next to the draw deck, deal a face-up row of 6. Separate all the square tiles by their colours. The beige tiles are called basic tiles, and you'll mix them all up in the cloth bag and lay out 7 face up below the draw deck and card row. Then give 1 at random to each player, which they place in front of themselves. The grey tiles are called special tiles. Take 6, 8 or 10 of those for a 2, 3 or 4 player game and lay them out above the row, returning the rest to the box. Place the 2 blue 14-point tiles below the last column from the card row, and set the dark brown scoring tiles aside. You won't use these in your first game. In the columns beside the blue tiles, place the 9-point, 6-point, and 3-point hitchhike cards. Set the sights cards aside. You won't use those in your first game either. Give each player a reference card. Then, starting from the first player, you're now ready to play. Parikrama is played in turns, going clockwise around the table. On your turn, you'll take up to 2 actions from among the 4 actions available, and each action you take must be different. Actions are travel, journal, backpack, or rest. The rest action is how you add new journey cards to your hand. There are 2 ways you can do this. You may take a single wild card from the display and add it to your hand, or you may take any 3 coloured journey cards from the display and add those to your hand. You cannot draw cards blindly from the deck. Whichever option you take, when you're finished, refill empty spaces in the row from the top of the deck. If, as a result of refilling, there are ever 4 or more wild cards in the display, then discard all cards from the display and replace with 6 new cards. If the draw deck ever empties when redrawing, then shuffle the discard pile back into a new draw deck. You have an end of turn hand limit of 12, so if you end your turn with more than 12 cards in hand, you must discard down to 12. The second action is travel, and you'll use this action to play cards from your hand into face-up groups in your personal area in front of you on the table. In Parikrama, there are 2 types of groups. These are sets, which have the same number but different colours, and runs, which have the same colour but different consecutive numbers. There is no minimum size for a group, but by the nature of a deck, a set cannot be larger than 4 and a run cannot be larger than 7. When taking a travel action, you may play any number of cards from your hand into a single one of your existing or new groups, as long as when you're finished it meets the standard rules governing sets and runs. So as examples here, I could play the blue 2 or both the blue 1 and 2 into this group. I could play the green 3 or the green 6 or both into this group. I could play the yellow 2, one of my blue 2s, or both a yellow and a blue into this group. Or there are a few options for new groups I could create, including a new set of 2 7s, or even a lone card. Let's suppose I add the green 6 and green 3 to this group. To do this, I must pay the travel cost, which is the total number of dots shown in the bottom left corners of all cards played. This cost is paid by discarding that many other cards from my hand. It does not matter the colour or number of the card that's discarded. All that matters here is the total quantity of cards discarded is 5. Upon paying the cost, I add my new cards to the group. Early on in the game, you'll see that these plays can be quite expensive, and as the game goes on, you'll get discounts on these costs, and I'll show you how that works a little bit later. When travelling, if you play a wild card, you can treat it as any colour and number combination that you wish. The cost to play a wild card is always 1, irrespective of what place that card takes in the group you're making. That card's identity is not permanently set. I could later come and play these cards and reassign this to represent a 1. Just be aware that, irrespective of the number of wilds, a run is still limited to 7 and a set is still limited to 4. The third action is called Journal, and when you do this, you'll close off one of the groups you've been creating in front of yourself. Choose a group which has at least 3 cards in it. This one cannot be journaled. From the cards in that group, take the highest numbered card and place it sideways into an overlapping set of cards called your journal. Then take all of the remaining cards and place them into a face-down pile called your backpack. If you're closing a set, all the cards are considered equally high, so you can choose whichever coloured card you want for your journal. If you're closing a run where a wild card is representing the highest card, then you must journal the wild, and typically you won't want to do this. You now gain bonuses from the common area. Firstly, choose a basic tile. If you close a group of size 3, you can choose any one of the first 3 tiles. A group of size 4, you can choose among the first 4, group of 5, the first 5, and so on. Upon making your choice, slide all tiles to its right, 1 step to the left, and refill the final slot from the bag. Place this tile into your personal map. All tiles you collect through the game get added to your map, and there are no placement restrictions other than the fact that each tile must be fully orthogonally adjacent to at least one other tile. You will, however, find it's beneficial to match coloured circles or large circular loops. Secondly, if you closed a group of size 4, then, if there are any left, you take one of the 3-point hitchhike cards. At size 5, you would take a 6-point hitchhike, and at size 6, you would take a 9-point hitchhike. These go into your hand, and they do count toward your 12-card hand limit. If you close a size 7 group, then take one of the 14-point tiles and add it to your map. The results of this journal action are the major ways that you're going to score points and make your future travel actions cheaper in the game. You'll be scoring points for all of the numbers that you play into your journal, as well as for collections of icons on your map and journal, and for making loops in your map and journal. But within the game, filled circles in either your journal or on your map will give you a discount on future travel actions for playing cards of the same colour. As laid out here, my discount is 1, 2, 3 green, 1 blue, and 1 purple. Wilds offer no discounts, nor do unmatched circles. As such, if I played these 2 cards as part of a single travel action, my 3 green discount would make the cost of this action 2. If playing these 3 cards as a set of 5s, I would get 1 discount on the blue, 3 discount on the greens, the green costs only 2, so this is reduced to 0, and no discount on the yellow, so the total cost of this action would be 3. Wilds are never discounted, so travelling with these 3 cards would cost me the full cost of 4. Hitchhiking cards also give you the once-off ability to play cards for free as part of a travel action. Suppose I were travelling with this set of 6s. I have 3 green discount, so the green card is free, and I have 1 blue discount, so the blue card costs 2. This hitchhiking card gives me 1 card for free. I would play the card into my journal. It's worth 3 points. And then I would treat one of the cards I was playing as free. So in this case, it would be the yellow. Therefore, I could play this entire set for only 2 cards. Hitchhiking can give you a wild for free. I could simply play this hitchhike card to play this entire run. The fourth and final action is backpack. Discard exactly 7 cards from your backpack. Then take any one of the grey special tiles remaining from the display, these are not replenished, and add it to your map. Most of these behave like the standard tiles. There are a few which give you special passive abilities, which are explained on the back of the rulebook. The game end is triggered once any one player adds a 9th tile to their map. Finish the current round so all players have had the same number of turns, and then each player takes 1 additional half turn. That is, you'll take 1 final action instead of the usual 2. It's possible to add a 10th or 11th tile during these final actions. Now count up your final scores, and you can track this on the scoring sheet. Each player gains points equal to every number on a card in their journal or on a tile in their map. Wilds score nothing. In this case, the score is 53. Next, you'll score for the 4 different types of symbols by counting up how many of that symbol you have in your journal and multiplying it by how many of that symbol you have in your map. Here, the fish score 3 times 2 for 6. The knots score 3 times 2 for 6. Wheels score 1 times 2 for 2. And lotuses score 1 times 2 for 2. It's not unusual for 1 or more of the 4 symbols to be worth no points to you. Finally, count up the total number of completed large loops in your map, as well as completed loops in your journal. On the map, the placement matters, while in your journal, you're just counting up the total number of half loops and dividing by 2. In this case, I have a total of 4 complete loops. The player with the most loops scores 14 points, and in a 3 or 4 player game, whoever has the second most loops scores 6. If tied, add up the points for the tied position and then share them equally among the tied players, rounded down. Add up the scores and the player with the highest score wins. If tied, the player with the most loops wins, and if still tied, victory is shared. Once you're familiar with the game, you can add the advanced variant, which gives you 2 extra elements, the scoring tiles and the sight cards. In setup, you'll choose any 3 of the scoring tiles, returning the rest to the box. Each of these provides an additional scoring objective which all players will evaluate and score for at the end of the game. A full explanation for each can be found on the back of the rulebook, and they generally involve having certain combinations or certain layouts of cards or icons in either your map or your journal. To use the sights, shuffle the 6 double-sided sight cards and then choose 3 at random on their current sides. These are competitive objectives which players will race for. The first player to have the specific combination of cards shown in their journal, here for example it's 3 of these 4 specific cards, gets to take the card and immediately journal it, where it will be worth points and icons at the end of the game in the standard way. This specific sights card requires you to have certain hitchhiking cards in your journal to take it, and lets you immediately take a tile as its reward. And that's how to play Parikrama.
Thanks so much for watching. Your like and comments are much appreciated. Subscribe to see what's coming. And hopefully you have a wonderful day. See you next time.